when you have something to get up in the morning for, and you've got somebody to inspire and you've got reasons to be able to do things, then it makes it all worthwhile. But then sometimes there are days where you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to stay here and I don't want to do anything. But if you kind of just bring a little bit more hope, if you bring a little bit more inspiration and transformation into your field, and you can do that magnetically, as Michael said, and then we can get you out of bed. Which brings me on to my next speaker quite quickly, actually. I think the team are just trying to push me forward here. So we are going all the way to the United States from the United Kingdom now to my good friend, Korey. Now, Korey and I met in Costa Rica a fair few years back when we were certifying for quantum healing training together. And him and his wife, we just bonded. They are doing amazing work all over the world together. And isn't it great when you do something together with somebody that you love and they're shifting vibrations? He's now putting his story into a book, which, oh my gosh, it is going to take over the world. But I don't want to say too much here. I want to be able to now give the floor to Korey and say thank you so much, my friend, for being here. You now have your 8 minutes.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Vikki, so much for having me. Much appreciated and looking forward to this. Just from hearing the stories and the things that have come up before me, and you mentioning my book, I've been trying to figure out, what's going to come up naturally for me to talk about during these times, especially with what is going on and a lot of tension around the United States and around the world. So I really have been focusing a lot on positive emotional health and trying to keep a steady pace, keep calm about the things that we worked on, especially like what we have been journeying through for the last year or so, mindset and spirituality and in life in general. And I've been working really hard through like the feelings and the behaviors of our natural day patterns in our life and trying to find a way to help people find their center. It's the best way to put it. It's ground into their reality, find their center, and know what they actually want in life. As in my story, as he was mentioning, is I have a past that most people would not turn out so well from. And they asked me, how have I done it? And in the story, it's really just healing through my patterns and my past. Every emotion that I have has a physical reaction inside the body, and memories are what we tend to base our next choices off of. So I really have been working deep through that story and telling my story on how to heal through that or remove those patterns, remove what we call blocks us, things that people get stuck at doing and not wanting to really just push through. So what I wanted to talk about today is how many things in our life can disrupt our day-to-day choices because we get so distracted with chores, with things to do, or we sit and try to plan what we need to do to fix the problem instead of just getting up and doing it. So in my book, I went all the way back to the beginning that I can earliest remember in my childhood. And what I did was I went through every negative memory that I had and found these patterns that are inside of that still reflect my choices today. And what I wanted to do was see how can I match those feelings with my patterns through the day and realize why I'm making what I call bad choices, where we hear ourselves go, oh, I always do that. Why does that always happen to me? What is going on right now? And I see so many people getting distracted instead of dealing with the problems, not being able to sit down, ground into what their choices actually are, what they actually want in life, out of life, while having this life. So I wanted to help people change in a way that even with good change, people still have problems adapting to old patterns that they bring up. So I wanted to bring that awareness of that emotional health patterning of watch your thoughts and the time that you have. Watch how long you spend thinking about something either negative or positive. Are you getting things done? Are you figuring things out? Are you spending too much time being angry about something that's not in front of you right now? And that was the main point of my story, how each bad decision or each one of my memories would cause me to act in a way that would not be the healthiest, but then you would repeat the pattern. Well, until you become aware of that patterning, before you actually become aware of anything that is in your life, you can't actually address it. So we do a lot of shadow chasing and looking for these problems to solve, and why does this happen? And I just don't feel like any of this will ever work. These questions that have always just been in our way. You might even find that you get high blood pressure, stress, anxiety just from thinking. Just from sitting there thinking about something can actually make you almost stress out. So I wanted to refine it in the thought process of how to be aware of the situation, find out what you have adapted and believed about that situation to be true, and find a way to alter it, as in forgiving that person or yourself or what is needed at the time. You ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What are we going through? So all the work that I've done is the processes of just being aware of it, being open to change. And the best way to do that in a time like this, where a lot of us are locked down, is get outside or find a way to be fresh air, breathe, stretch, open yourself up to anywhere that brings natural beauty to your life. In any story, in any problem, if you're in a right space to receive that information, you'll be able to get through it. You'll be able to figure it out. You'll really be able to understand why it's even happening. And there's just so much that you can do with your beliefs, which then turn into behaviors and patterns, which then you heal through and heal from. And you work through that. You find a way to inspire each other. And that's why I wrote my story, because finding out, me telling my story, what I've been through, how I healed that, someone else can actually read and see how to heal themselves. So it's so important for us to share these stories, to talk to each other about them, to share your pain so someone else feels comfortable enough to share their pain. And then once you realize why you have felt that, why you believe that, they'll start to come to light. Just hold space for each other, hold space for even yourself if you need to. Take time out of every day to find out what you need, what your body's responding to. Are you depressed and not wanting to get out of bed? Well, why is that? Find a reason to. Is there something that's bothering you, or it just makes you upset for no reason? Take time to get through that, work through that emotion, work through those pains. Be in a place that feels beautiful, be somewhere around people that feels like you're able to make that change. Inspire each other by being vulnerable enough, telling each other the stories of something you're working through. You'll find out that other people will quickly respond with their stories, and then you'll realize maybe they helped you with something somehow in that response. So in that, building relationships, working through our past by telling stories, and acknowledging our emotional responses to everything that we go through day to day is the best way to keep focused, to keep sharing love, positivity, transformation, inspiration. Everything that you are building here, and I love being able to see it. It's an honor to be a part of it, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the stories and everything that is to come. And I think that is about my time, and I don't want to push you over, but I thank you for having me here, hearing my story, and sending you all much love and appreciation.
And Korey, we are sending you much love and appreciation back, topped and sprinkled with a little bit of hope, inspiration, and transformation. Of course. Thank you so much for sharing. And the one thing, I wrote this down, I'm writing quite a few things down. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to rest in between all these 8 minutes, but I'm not. I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. But it's about watching your thoughts, isn't it? And about holding space. So that's the thing. Let's hold space for ourselves. We're so used to holding space for others. And how often do we hold space for ourselves? Maybe that is a little bit of a challenge for you now. And that's going to be something that we're going to ask you to do now, is hold space for yourself. Thank you so much for reminding us about that.